Risk Never Sleeps podcast, in which we learn about the people that are on the front lines delivering patient care and protecting patient safety. I'm Ed Gaudette, the host of our program, and today I am pleased to be joined by Tony Scott, the Chief Executive Officer of Intrusion. Welcome, Tony, to the program.
Well, thanks for talking with me today. Appreciate it.
Great to have you on board. So let's start off with sharing a little bit about your current role in Intrusion, a little bit about your organization.
Sure. Well, I'm CEO of Intrusion. I've been here actually in the next 2 weeks. It'll be my 4th anniversary here as CEO. And I joined Intrusion at that time because the organization was going through a pretty big transformation. And I was very impressed with the core IP that Intrusion had. And on top of that, the team that was here, fighting cyber issues every single day. And trust me, I'd looked at a lot of things over my career, and this was at the top of the list of sort of very cool, very innovative stuff. So it was a opportune time for me, and I think also for the organization.
I was going to ask you, were you a customer prior, or?
No, in fact, I'd never heard of Intrusion. The company was going through a pretty big transition. The former CEO had been fired by the board for some activities, which we don't need to get into here, but the company was kind of running out of money, and there clearly needed some different approaches. And at first, when I saw the company, I thought, well, maybe I could hire away some of the key people for other companies that I'd been affiliated with, or pick up their IP and sell it to somebody. But when I saw the combination of the IP and the people and their mission and how focused they were on it, I quickly switched to a whole different point of view. And it was, how can we save this thing? How can we turn it around and make it grow and continue to serve the important mission that it was on? So presented that back of the envelope plan, and the board loved it and said, you got to come on as CEO to execute it. So here we are.
4 years later.
Yeah, exactly.
So in a nutshell, what problem are you solving at Intrusion?
Well, there's a couple of core tenets that are, I call it the legs of our stool that we ride on. One is, in today's modern world, you need extreme visibility of what's going on in your network. It's not just sampling or testing from time to time. And this is the traffic that makes its way through the firewall, by the way. The bad guys have figured out all kinds of ways to, get past the firewall. And not only that, there's all kinds of things that get into your network that never came through the firewall in the first place. You can buy equipment that's already got malware embedded in it. You can have employees or suppliers or customers come into your network that, might have things in it. And so our core belief is you need extreme network visibility all the time. And it's not just conversations, it's packet by packet by packet in real time. And we do that extremely well. The second sort of tenet or leg of our stool is you need to have institutional memory of bad actors and who they are and how they work and where they come from and so on. And you need memory on that like an elephant, never forget. And because nowadays the bad guys are resurrecting things that people haven't seen in 4 or 5 years.
That's right.
And a lot of technology platforms tend to focus on, well, what's been happening most recently.
Yeah.
One of our patents is a way of storing all of that history and so on, and all the inferences that we can do from that data forever. And so we never forget. And then the third leg of our stool is you really need to look at both in and outbound traffic as well as east-west traffic. And our role is just to block that bad stuff from communicating, and if you can block the communication, you can block the harm. There's other tools that are good at remediating bad stuff, for cleaning up and all that stuff. We don't do that. We just keep it from communicating, isolate it, and then you can deal with it, in an appropriate manner. But those are
Yeah.
the core sort of concepts that we rest our laurels on. And what we've seen in practice is the combination of these things is exceptionally good at stopping zero-day attacks, things that
Hmm.
people have never seen before. And we're exceptionally good at blocking the call homes that infected devices or things in the network often want to do to, you know, figure out, well, what do you want me to do next?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm here, I'm in Ed's, network. What do you want me to do?
Yeah. Also, exfiltration of data, I assume, as well.
Yeah, if it's going to a place that it shouldn't be going, we just block it.
Nice.
We don't even let it, they don't even let it try. I
Nice.
would also say that this is in the modern world, there's a lot of sort of what looks like harmless activity, but it's actually surveillance. It's knocking on the door to see, hey, is there a window open here or a door that I can wedge myself in? Or is there an unpatched vulnerability that I could take advantage of?
Yeah.
And there's no actual malware, but it's surveillance that builds intelligence in the bad guys about when I do want to launch an attack, here's, the opportunities that I might have to,
Hmm.
and with AI, you can craft a very clever multi-pronged attack, very easily. So, that's an area that we're obviously focused on.
Nice. Nice. And I assume you're horizontal. You service multiple industries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have customers, kind of across the board. These problems are pretty universal, as it
Hmm.
turns out.
Yeah.
Nobody's immune.
That's right. That's right. What are some of your top initiatives over the next couple of years?
Well, one of the big ones, and we've done a couple of press announcements on it, is critical infrastructure. So
Hmm.
many IT environments are, pretty well protected. I wouldn't ever call them perfect, but,
Hmm.
there's been a lot of investment in the sort of IT environments.
Hmm.
But we have a lot of technology that's classically called OT. It's shop floor manufacturing stuff. It's utilities. It's all of or many of the things that you know sustain life on this planet. It's water systems. It's you
Mm.
know telecom environments. They're very distributed. A lot of this equipment was put in 10, 20, 30 years ago.
Hmm.
I started actually in this world working for Sun Microsystems doing shop floor systems, and a lot of protocols and equipment that I was familiar with now a really long time ago are
Yeah.
still working. This stuff,
Yeah.
it's built to last, it doesn't break. But at the same time, it was never designed to be hooked up to the internet, and it was never designed to be, have the deterrence that is needed to survive some of these kinds of attacks that we're seeing today. So we have a critical infrastructure product that's really good at sort of protecting these OT environments from all the bad stuff that, can come in from the internet or other places. And we see that
Yeah.
as a big growth opportunity for us.
Yeah. How'd you get involved in tech? You've worked at a number of great companies: Microsoft, VMware, Walt Disney Corp, General Motors. My dad worked at GM. How did you get involved in tech?
Oh, it's a crazy story, but it's kind of the story of my life, which is a series of accidents that were never planned. I was actually early in my life as a young man thinking of being in the field of Parks and Recreation Administration. The theory at the time was that people were going to, because of technology, have way too much time on their hands and way too much money. And a lucrative career was going to be helping people figure out what to do with all the extra money and time that they had. Would have been great if that, you know, prophecy had ever occurred. But after a pretty short period of time, I figured out that's not going to happen. We need to figure out something else. And I went to work at Marriott Corporation when they were starting up theme parks called Great America Theme Parks. One was in Santa Clara, California. One was in Gurnee, Illinois. This was in 1976. And we opened both parks that year to great success. These were really fun theme parks. The Santa Clara one, right in the middle of Silicon Valley, obviously. And I was there about 2 or 3 years, had gotten several promotions. And one day we didn't call it IT then, we called it Management Information Systems or something. He came to me and he said, "Hey, Tony, I know we've been having trouble forecasting attendance and scheduling labor. There's this new computer out called an Apple II that I think we could write software for that would do a better job at forecasting attendance and scheduling labor than this timeshare mainframe thing that we've been using." And I looked back at him and I said, "What do you mean we?" I had taken one Fortran class in high school and, that was it. And I said, "What do you mean we?" And he said, "Well, I can teach you to write software, but you know the business better than anybody else around here. And I need your brain, to help do this." And so we worked together for a few weeks, and sure enough, about, 10 or 12 weeks later, we had a prototype that was beating the timeshare mainframe in terms of accuracy on both fronts. And so in the end, we went and bought a whole bunch of Apple computers. I started using them for all kinds of different things, inventory control. We put some in our cash department to count cash at the end of the day with the first primitive forms of spreadsheets. We used it for maintenance, ride maintenance, all kinds of different things. And I think we must have bought 12 or 15 of these things.
Oh, wow.
Apple Computer got wind of this and sent a reporter out to talk to us. And this reporter followed me around for a full day, and I was showing her all the things that we do with Apple Computer. And we ended up being on the cover of the first magazine devoted to Apple Computer. That's how early it was in that whole cycle.
That was during the VisiCalc years, Dan
Yeah,
Brooklyn. And
exactly. I still remember some of those slash commands for VisiCalc because I used them so much.
That's right. Yeah. So you know the acronym VMS and VAX and DCL and
Sure.
That's great.
But the important thing is I realized as a result of that experience that software was going to change the world.
Yeah.
It was going to change everything that we did. And I said, this is a way better path for me than this Parks and Recreation Administration thing. So, yeah.
Did you ever watch that show, Parks and Recreation?
I have, yeah. It's a little different than I was running programs for what we would call at-risk youth now.
Yeah.
Taking kids backpacking and skiing and, getting them out of the inner city kind of thing. So it wasn't exactly like the TV show, but
that's great.
At any rate.
And I wonder if we cross paths. You were GM. Did you build your manufacturing with Corba? Did you ever use Corba or?
I was there late 99 to about 2006 to mid 2005, 2006. And our big work at that particular time was two sort of big things. One was GM had bought EDS.
Oh, right.
And had used EDS as its internal IT department for many years. In 96, there was an agreement signed where EDS was spun back out as an independent company, but there was a 10-year agreement that EDS would primarily provide services to GM with the ability for GM to compete some parts of the IT business to other suppliers and so on. And so that was a big set of activities, transitioning some of the technology platforms that we had from EDS to other suppliers. But the biggest initiative was really the digitization of the whole manufacturing process. So this is an effort that had been underway a year or two before I got there, but it continued. It turned out that, and I've seen this many times since, every part of the business had access to the best tools money could buy from a technology standpoint, but they just weren't connected together.
Mm-hmm.
So the design guys would use the state of the art, CAD systems to do all these really cool, creative concepts, cars and so on. And then they would actually, go to clay and, create some of those designs and so on.
Yeah.
But the handoff to engineering, the actual guys who make the parts and figure out how it's all going to fit together, was a paper handoff,
Yeah.
right? And then the handoff to the actual manufacturing guys and procurement guys who had to go buy the parts and all that, that was a manual handoff.
Oh,
And
jeez.
and when you and again, in each case, they all had wonderful tools, but they just
Mhm.
weren't connected together.
Yeah.
And so our effort was, let's connect all those things, create a very streamlined, digital highway between all of these really good systems. And what that allowed GM to do, quite frankly, was design and build cars much faster than they ever had before. And I tell this story. The state of the art, as I joined, and I was part of a big team that did all this. It wasn't just me. But the state of the art meant that you could conceive of a car and actually have one roll off the end of an assembly line in about 5.5 years.
Mm.
Now, cars are a fashion business, let's face it, right?
Mhm.
You tell me what fashion's going to be 5.5 years from now.
Nothing.
It's a wild guess.
Yeah.
And so we set a goal of 18 months. We said we want the ability to conceive of a car, design it, engineer it, and have it roll off the assembly line in 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, you can be pretty responsive to fashion trends. And by I'd say, by 2002 or three kind of time frame, we achieved that goal. And it was a huge game changer, in the business.
Incredible. If you weren't doing this job, what would you be doing? What are you most passionate about outside of work?
Oh, I have tons of interests,
All right.
and not enough time to do them. I fly airplanes, I ride motorcycles, I boat, are probably the primary ones. I have a pretty extensive guitar collection, and
Oh, now we're
uh,
talking. All right. What's your
uh,
favorite guitar?
I've got several. My favorite acoustic is Martin, that I've had for years.
Nice.
Um,
Nice.
I have a couple of Gibson robot tuner guitars
Oh,
that
no way.
I keep playing around with. I have, I think I have 40 or so at this particular point. So,
What
it-
what's
it's
your what's your what guitars inspires you the most? Like what type of music do you listen to?
mostly, 60s rock and roll stuff, some
All
folk
right.
music.
Okay. Good.
Um,
So
uh,
so who's your favorite guitarist?
Keith Richards, number one.
Oh man. Okay. Good. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay. Well,
yeah,
he's rhythm. So you're a rhythm guitarist, or
yeah, yeah,
yeah. All right.
yeah,
All right.
yeah. But just the best, I mean, things that guy has figured out how to do just
Yeah.
still impress me.
Yeah. Yeah. You a Mick Taylor fan?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
how about a Garcia? You like Jerry Garcia?
I love Jerry Garcia.
Oh, here we go. Gotta
All
put it
right.
up. Gotta hold it up. Another Jerry fan.
Yeah,
Woo.
yeah.
I-
There's very few that I don't,
Yeah.
fully appreciate at least some of what they do.
Nice.
But if I go on a road trip, I just love to crank up the radio and blast rock and roll.
Oh
They
man,
go
I'm going
down
on
the
your
road.
road trip.
Yeah. Well, I found that, if I have a podcast, like a book on tape or something,
Yeah.
it just puts me to sleep. So
Yeah.
I'm
I
I'm
love
much
it.
more attuned to that, good old rock
Nice.
and roll.
Nice. If you could go back in time and tell your 20-year-old self something, what would it be?
Don't be so hesitant. I think that early on in particular, when you realize that you have a lot to learn and so on, it can make you more, I'll say, overly cautious than you
Mhm.
need to be. And I would have encouraged myself to be a little more experimental or assertive in terms of
Mhm.
going after things. I realized later I had some instincts that had I acted on them sooner might have,
Amen.
you know, altered even my own
Yeah.
trajectory, although I'm not complaining at all.
No, no, no. I'm the same way. Like utility computing or cloud-based storage. I had a million ideas way back, way too early. But if I
Yeah.
had,
Well,
stuck with them,
that's
yeah,
often the case, I
yeah,
think. Yeah.
interesting. So you're on a desert island. I think you're gonna nail this question. What 5 albums would you bring with you?
It'd probably be Sticky Fingers, Rolling Stones.
Nice, nice. Okay.
I'd have to pick one of the Bonnie Raitt albums
Oh,
'cause I love her
yeah,
music.
yeah.
I'd probably pick a Dixie Chicks album.
Okay, nice.
I'd probably have Santana
Okay, nice.
and a Grateful Dead.
Which Dead?
Oh, pick one. I mean, right? Probably one of the earlier ones,
American
though.
Beauty or
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
nice.
Probably one of
Nice.
the older albums. Yeah.
Did you ever see him in concert?
I never did. I never did. But all the others I mentioned I have. But
You did, yeah.
I have several friends who are Deadheads, so
Oh, okay,
whenever
yeah.
I'm around them, we get,
Yeah.
we
Well,
get.
they're still playing, and
Yeah.
this year I saw 9 or 6 shows at the Sphere in Vegas. So you can go if they come again. You can go to the Sphere in Vegas.
I
and check 'em
definitely
out.
want to do that. Yeah,
John Mayer is amazing as a guitar.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not Jerry, but he's
yeah,
so good, and he makes it his own. And I mean, it's special to watch them continue.
yeah. I've watched a whole bunch of the concert films and
Yeah.
things that they've done. So yeah, it's.
What's your favorite
I
concert?
feel like I've been there.
What's your favorite concert? What's your favorite show you've been to?
Oh, it's the Stones. It's just, and they've gotten better actually. There was a period 10 years ago where it, Keith would be so out of it that you weren't even sure if he was playing
Yeah.
half the time, but he's cleaned his act up a lot,
Yeah.
and he's in fine form these days. And the last concert I went to was in LA at the,
Coliseum.
well, no, the new stadium down
Oh,
there.
the new same. Okay.
Uh,
yeah.
And it was fantastic. They just
Yeah.
put on a phenomenal show, probably one of the best ones I've ever seen.
Did you
them
ever see the
do.
72 Stones? That's my favorite year. Like
Yeah, yeah.
did. Oh,
I've been I've been to every tour that they've done
oh wow.
in the States, at
Oh,
least
jeez.
one concert. And here's proof of it. After the last concert, I was in Los Angeles Airport, LAX, in the lounge, American Airlines lounge, and across from me was a guy who was, decked out in Stones gear. And I said, "Oh, were you at the concert last night?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Oh, well, what did you think of it?" And he said, "This is the best one I've ever been to." And I said, "How many have you been to?" And he said, "I've gone to every concert on this American tour in every city." This guy must have been independently wealthy or something.
Jeez.
And I said, "Wow, that's a lot of,
Shows.
a lot of shows." And he said, "And I've done that the last 10 years. Anytime they come to the US, I go to every show."
Wow.
And I said, "And so you think this was the best, And he said, "This is the best tour they've ever done. And that concert in LA was the best of the tour this year. Was the last one,
Wow.
last stop on the tour, I think." But
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I love Exile on Main Street. I've seen him 25 times. Not much comparatively to other shows. Like Dad, I've seen a couple hundred times. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's
And,
awesome.
and the video, Havana Moon, is one
Oh,
of my favorites as
It
well.
is. It's so good, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 It's just
It's so good.
so
Have you
fun.
seen, I assume you've seen Altamont.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Give Me Shelter. That video.
Yep.
It's crazy, huh?
Yep.
Now you weren't at Altamont, were you?
I wasn't, but I almost was, to be honest.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
I was
Yep.
supposed to go with a friend of mine, and he got really, really sick,
Oh.
and I didn't want to go by myself, so
Yeah.
I bailed at the last minute. But
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm glad I wasn't. That was not
Yeah.
a good
No,
one
no,
to be
not a
at.
good, not a good scene. Yeah, the other thing too, which was interesting, is they played a couple years in 2016. They played this Desert Trip concert. Were you able to go to that?
I didn't go to that
Oh
one.
yeah, okay, that was in Coachella,
Yeah.
in Indio, California. Yeah, that was pretty
Yeah.
cool. Well, good. What's the riskiest thing you've ever done?
There's probably too many to mention in some sense, but motorcycle riding can be pretty risky. I'm a pretty these days, chicken rider. I am very cautious. Same thing with flying. If the weather is at all goofy or anything at all is wrong with the plane, I won't go. And I used to ride horses, and they're very finicky animals, so I've been injured a bunch of times, because of that activity. I used to play ice hockey until I was about in my mid 50s. And so, I've engaged in some pretty interesting activities over the years.
What kind of bikes you ride?
I was all over the Harley V rods for a
Oh,
long
yeah.
time.
Nice.
I, at one point, had three of them, but my favorite bike now is a brand new Honda Goldwing.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just an incredible touring bike.
I was gonna say, nice cruiser.
Yeah, it is. On the highway, it is just the best.
Yeah, yeah. We rented Indian Chiefs when we were out at Indio. You
Mhm.
ever Indian?
Yes, I
Yeah.
have
Nice. That's a nice bike.
been on all kinds of different Harleys and,
Yeah.
all kinds of different
Been
bikes.
to
So
Sturgis?
I haven't. Here's the thing that I have discovered about myself, and this is true of boating, flying. I love doing things for defined periods of time, but I must have ADD or something, because
You get
whether
bored.
it's the boat or the motorcycle, after a certain period of time, I just want to have nothing to do with it for a while.
Jeez, sounds like
And
me.
so riding the motorcycle, I'll go for a few hours, but
Mm,
a few days is like, nah,
yeah.
not doing that.
Mm.
And yeah, it's just kind of
You do any painting or writing creatively or?
not so
Yeah.
much. I found that I'm a better editor of things than I am a creator,
Yeah.
per se. But you know, in retirement, whenever that is, maybe I'll find a way
That is
to
the
do
question.
that.
What? Well, if you go back in time and change one decision you made, what would it be?
It's probably a hiring decision,
Mm.
where I can think of a couple cases where I didn't follow my instinct and kind of got succumbed to pressure or whatever,
Mhm.
and made a bad hiring decision that, I tried to make work, and then ultimately came to the conclusion, yep, that was a mistake. Should have followed your instinct and not done it. That's probably there's a couple instances of that where and not because they're bad people, it was just the
No, it's
wrong
not a fit. Good
person
fit.
in the
Yeah.
wrong
Yeah.
wrong
I'm
role.
having this conversation right now with my team. It's just, yeah,
Yeah.
it's hiring is so critical. It's so important. And sometimes, we want to bring in people we've worked with in the past, and it's a saying, familiarity breeds contempt, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's something that works sometimes, and there's oftentimes it doesn't work
Yeah.
for various reasons.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are probably the ones. If I had a do-over, I'd
Yeah.
pull that card.
All right. Last question. Any advice to someone graduating out of school that wants to get into technology, security, or otherwise? What would you give them?
I would say just be open to the possibilities. I think in talking to young people who are, just starting off, they've often narrowed their focus so narrow that they don't consider other possibilities that might be adjacent or leverage their skill set better than the thing that they have picked. And often they've picked the thing because of, a mentor or somebody they want to emulate, or some other influence that might not fully reflect their actual skills and abilities and so on. And so my advice would be explore, be open to, possibilities, and don't be too narrowly focused. And it doesn't hurt to be, specific or organized or thoughtful or whatever. But at least in my experience, things come along that weren't in your field of vision maybe initially, but if you think about it a little more, you go, maybe this is the right thing for me to consider doing.
You went to Michigan or?
No, I put two kids through school there, so we became
Okay.
fans vicariously.
Is that the Wolverines or
Yeah,
yeah?
exactly. Yeah,
Is that Go Blue? Is that the
go blue.
yeah, Go
Yeah,
Blue, yeah.
yeah. We're
Really
so we've
nice.
become big fans,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
I saw the was that a pillow or something back there?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. That's
exactly.
really cool. All
Yeah.
right. Well, thank you, Tony. We're here with Tony Scott talking about his organization and his origin story and experience. It's been a great conversation. I'm Ed Gaudette from the Risk Never Sleeps podcast. And if you're on the front lines protecting patient safety or delivering patient care, remember to stay vigilant because risk never sleeps.